G'day everyone, and welcome back to FortifyIntelliGents. We were just talking about an interesting question posed to me by my counterpart here, Liam. And
Yes,
he,
the question
yep,
was, do people think that games are too short these days? In which we both agree that they are indeed too short.
too short. Now, I said that I think games are too short because winning a game is no longer an achievement. Winning a game is expected. And so devs make games short because they expect people to, win them. They don't expect people to say, oh yeah, I actually beat that game. It should be standard. If you own that game, then after a certain amount of time, you've finished it, unless you didn't enjoy it to a certain extent or whatever. So yeah, I think games are very short. And I also think sometimes it's a bit sketchy that you can pay, $90 for a full title. I'm sure a lot of people paid $80 or $90 for BioShock Infinite or however much it was. And that game was I did a very thorough playthrough. I did not blaze through it, and it took me 17 hours or something. So you're paying $90 for 17 hours of entertainment. But I know a lot of people who would just cannonball that thing. They would just one shot that game in a day, and it'd take them 10 hours or 12 hours or something like that. $90 for that much entertainment, is that worth it, Liam? For such a short game, you know?
Well, when you compare it to movies, you pay $15 for a movie ticket, then I guess it does add up. But that's not the point. It is a game. It is a game that you should be able to play for a fair amount of time. And the games these days you can't, because they just end.
Yeah.
And
well, a lot of games will have some sort of replayability,
but I'm mainly talking about the AAA story-driven titles, because let me give you my experience with The Last of Us. And
yes.
I suck at this game. I'm already dead already. So they first teased The Last of Us about 2 years ago. That was the first teaser trailer.
Yeah, I remember watching it at school.
Yep, the first teaser trailer was based on the characters.
Yep.
Like the Ellie and Joel. And ever since then, their whole selling point of the game is
Liam,
the character.
help me.
Yep, I've got you.
Sorry.
Oh, tank. I'm down. I'm just shooting this guy in the face. Hoping that you come
go on
pick
with
me
your
up.
point. I got this tank. Oh no, you're dead.
I'm dead.
At least you can talk now.
Yep. Okay, so they first teased it 2 years ago. And ever since then, their whole selling point has still been the character development of Ellie and Joel. So they spend 2 years getting you, before the game's even out, trying to get you emotionally attached to Joel and Ellie. Specifically Ellie, because she's the child.
Yep, she's a cute little kid. Everyone loves a cute little kid.
Yep, they spend 2 years trying to get you prepared to be emotionally attached to this kid. And before the game's even announced, they say that the game's only about 12 hours long.
Oh, gosh.
So you spend 2 years. No. You spend 2 years hyping up. No, I haven't. But you spend 2 years hyping up a game that's based on being attached to characters. You get the game. I got the game on Friday, and it's just hard to be 100% in. Yep, it's just hard to be 100% invested into a character when you know you're going to be done by the next Monday.
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. It's not like
I've been waiting 2 years for this game, and they expect you to be emotionally attached to a character, even though you're going to be done with the game by 3 days later.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a journey that you've gone on, does it? When it only takes that long.
It's like there's these great cutscenes, but you're like, well, it's going to be over in a few hours of gameplay. It's just it's hard to explain, but.
No, I know what you mean, because a good example would be right now I'm in the middle of reading A Song of Ice and Fire, the books that Game of Thrones is based on, right? And it is a big old series. There's first book, second book, and then the third book is in 2 parts, right? There are 2 books to the third book. The fourth one is huge, and then there's the fifth one, which I think you can get in either 2 parts or in 1. And just every one of those books is 800 pages, right? and I'm a slow reader. Like, usually I only read comics and stuff, so when I read an actual novel, it takes me a long-ass time. Like, I know people who can cannonball, like, most of the entire series of A Song of Ice and Fire within, like, you know, a fortnight or something like that, just because when they get sucked into a book, they get sucked into a book, but I don't really. And so, because I've been reading it for years, I feel like I've gone on this huge journey, and it's only costed me like $16 per book. But I feel that, like, obviously games aren't going to span that same sort of, like, that same sort of time, but I feel really invested in these characters because I've been reading about them for so long, and it's been such a journey for me because I remember years ago when I like started reading the books and how the characters have changed since then, whereas you don't get that effect in video games anymore because it's like you said, Liam, when you finish The Last of Us, you'll just be thinking, oh, I only just bought this last Friday. Well, that was fun, and that took me like only a few days to finish because it's only 12 hours of entertainment. I'm not saying it's not good entertainment, but is that worth it?
It's weird though in The Last of Us because the character development is so subtle, but yet you care so much. It's like, this isn't spoiling anything, but there's a scene where you just stumble across an old broken down arcade machine, and since Ellie was born after the apocalypse, she has never known like entertainment like that. So she like just makes this comment about wishing she could play it. And it's just subtle things like that.
Wow.
And then
yeah, that is subtle, isn't it?
And it's hard to get attached 100% when you know the story's going to be over, like, after 2 more sessions of playing.
Yeah.
Or something.
I gotta say though, I'm really loving the character development in The Last of Us. It's been my highlight so far. Like, just the little offside things that, like, Joel will say to Ellie as they're walking around.
Yeah.
It's
And
really cool.
my other example is BioShock. I remember seeing a screenshot for BioShock Infinite like 4 years ago.
Really? Well, that
Like,
game was in development for an exceptionally long time, though.
That was in development for so long. I didn't get it, but seeing people who have finished it, seeing this playtime on Steam, it's like 10 hours.
Yeah.
4 years and you get 10 hours out of it.
Yep. I guess that's just how long it takes when they want to make something that's so like graphically amazing.
And I know it's expensive to create such great environments, and especially with motion capture these days, but still, to only be able to get like 12 hours out of
I see what you mean. It's a little bit imbalanced, you know. A little bit imbalanced. I guess games are just like that though, but I feel like old games definitely had a lot more length to them and they were like harder. Because I remember thinking, oh, maybe I just couldn't finish games because I was a kid, you know, and when I was a kid I didn't, you know, I wasn't as coordinated and so I was shit, so I could never finish half the games I played. But now going back and playing the old games like Crash Bandicoot 1, man, that is a hard platformer. That is really not easy. So it's like, yeah, it's funny. It's like old.
Hold that thought.
Yeah. Anyway,
and continue it in part 3.
Yeah, part 3 will continue this discussion, and I also have a question to put to Liam. So, catch you then.